There are couples in the world of television who shine because of their talent. There are couples who shine because of their charm. And then there are couples like Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, two people who seem to light up a room the moment they walk into it, even if the lights were already on full brightness. For years, audiences have adored their chemistry. Not just because they're married, not just because they've built a life together, but because of the way they look at each other, the way they communicate without words, the way they playfully tease each other on air, as if forgetting the cameras even exist. And recently, fans were stunned after a small, unexpected moment between them went viral. An unplanned, funny, romantic, completely unscripted encounter that left viewers wondering, what exactly happened when the cameras stopped rolling? Today, we dive into that story. Not dramatic, not scandalous, just beautifully human. A moment that explained once again why Kelly and Mark remain one of the most adored couples in American entertainment. It begins backstage, before the show even started. Kelly was going over notes, her mind racing through upcoming segments, topics, and guest questions. She had her glasses halfway down her nose and her hair tied in a loose top knot that somehow made her look even more effortlessly elegant. Mark, on the other hand, was doing the exact opposite. He wasn't reviewing notes, he wasn't panicking, he wasn't even rehearsing transitions. He was standing there, completely distracted, watching Kelly with this soft smile that only someone deeply in love could ever wear. Kelly felt the stare. Of course, she always felt it. She turned to him with that signature eyebrow lift, the one that means, "Are you staring at me, or did you forget your lines again?" Mark laughed, raised both hands in surrender, and replied, "Guilty, but honestly, I just like the view." Kelly rolled her eyes, but her lips curled into that tiny smile she gets when she's fighting the urge to laugh, and everyone in the room already knew what was about to happen. Kelly always pretended she wasn't charmed, Mark always pretended he wasn't doing it on purpose, and yet they both knew the game. But this particular day, something different happened. Kelly asked Mark to hand her a stack of cue cards. Simple, harmless, routine. Mark reached for them and accidentally grabbed the wrong stack. The stack containing Kelly's handwritten notes. Doodles, reminders, many motivational quotes, a few silly faces she drew during rehearsal to keep herself awake. When he passed them to her, one card slipped out and fluttered to the floor. Kelly reached for it at the same moment Mark bent down, and the two of them bumped foreheads, lightly, but unexpectedly. Kelly let out a surprised laugh. Mark froze, dramatically clutching his forehead. Then he looked up at her with exaggerated pain, pretending he had been struck down by the mighty forehead of justice. Kelly, trying not to laugh, whispered, "Really? You're being dramatic over a tap?" Mark gasped. That was not a tap. That was a full-force headbutt-level collision. I might need emotional support, and possibly snacks. Kelly burst into laughter, the kind that made her shoulders shake, and that moment was caught by a backstage camera. Not the main cameras, just a simple internal feed. Someone on the team saw the sweetness of it, clipped the tiny moment, and added it to a behind-the-scenes montage for fans. What happened next surprised everyone. The clip blew up. Not because it was dramatic, not because it was controversial, not because anyone was upset. It blew up because it was real. A genuine moment between two people who have been married for decades and still act like they're on their very first date. Fans began commenting things like, "This is the cutest thing I've ever seen. Why do they flirt harder than teenagers? Relationship goals. I want what they have." Little did viewers know, that tiny moment was only the beginning of the story. Because after the head bump, Kelly kept teasing Mark throughout the morning. Every time she looked at him, she gently tapped her forehead and mouthed, "You okay there, tough guy?" Mark pretended to wobble dramatically like he might faint. But the real private moment came right before they walked on stage. Kelly stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her outfit. She was confident, glowing, ready for the show, But Mark walked behind her and wrapped his arms gently around her waist. Their eyes met in the mirror. He didn't say anything for a second.
Finally,
He didn't need to.
he spoke quietly, not joking, not teasing, just sincere. You know, every day I feel lucky I get to do life with you. Kelly froze, not because she was shocked, but because she knew he meant it. Mark wasn't always sentimental on camera, but behind the scenes, he had a softness that only she ever got to see. Kelly turned around, placed her hands on his shoulders, and whispered back, "And I feel lucky you still make me laugh like we're teenagers." It was at that exact moment that one of the crew members called out, "You two ready? We're going live!" They pulled apart instinctively, but not before Mark stole a tiny, playful kiss on Kelly's cheek. Kelly gasped, swatted him lightly, and whispered, "Behave." Mark winked. "No promises." And then they walked on stage, smiling, glowing, fully in sync, leaving fans wondering what kind of adorable chaos had gone on backstage. That, right there, was the moment people were trying to understand. Not a scandal, not a secret fight, not anything dramatic, just a private, romantic, funny moment between two people who truly enjoy being together. The episode that followed only made fans more suspicious, in a good way. Kelly kept laughing at everything Mark said. Mark kept sneaking tiny glances at Kelly when she wasn't looking. Their chemistry just felt different that day. Warmer, softer, more playful. Viewers commented things like, "They're glowing! What happened before the show? They look extra cute today." "Kelly looks like she's trying not to laugh every time Mark talks." The truth was simple. They were just happy. After the show, when the cameras turned off, Kelly asked Mark, "Do you realize your silly forehead act went viral?" Mark, without missing a beat, replied, "Finally! My acting career is taking off again." Kelly laughed so hard she had to sit down. Mark bowed dramatically, pretending to accept an imaginary award. And that, in a nutshell, is why fans love them. Not because they're perfect, not because they're dramatic, not because they're mysterious, but because they're real. Two people who still flirt, still tease, still laugh, still hold hands backstage. Two people who still treat each other like their favorite person in the world, even after decades together. And the private moment finally explained wasn't some shocking reveal. It wasn't tension. It wasn't a secret argument. It was just two people bumping their heads, laughing, teasing, loving, and being themselves. And honestly, that might be the most heartwarming thing of all. In a world where people chase scandal, chase drama, chase attention, Kelly and Mark remind everyone that sometimes the most beautiful moments are the smallest ones. A clumsy bump, a shared laugh, a meaningful hug before going live, a whispered compliment no one else hears, a kiss on the cheek that wasn't meant for the audience, but was caught by the universe anyway. Their love story continues, quietly, joyfully, playfully, and fans feel lucky to witness even a tiny piece of it. So, as the clip continues to circulate and fans keep reacting with surprise and delight, one thing becomes clear. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos don't need drama to captivate the world. They just need to be themselves. And that is more than enough.